Ljubljana, a city you may or may not have heard of. This peaceful town of 300,000 people is one of the prettiest in Europe, with beautiful cobblestone streets, majestic mountains, the greenest capital in Europe, and horrible congestion, major housing issues, severe political incompetence. Yeah, despite what social media tells you, this place is not as perfect as it seems. In fact, it has some pretty gaping issues, which frankly aren't Instagrammable enough to show up in your feed. So it's my duty to show you these issues and how our great leader, Mayor Zoki Zoran Jankovic, is gonna fix all of this like he always did. So we are going on a quest around this glorious metropolis to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Starting off, I need to give the city some credit. Its old town has one of the largest pedestrianized zones in Europe, an accomplishment surprising considering the city's stubborn love for cars. Alongside the main pedestrian zone, other parts of the city center are also closed for cars. Like for example here on Slovenska Road, which used to be a 4-lane gutter, but after the generational glow up that surprisingly our dear mayor gave us, it's a very pleasant bus-only street. Besides the pedestrian zone, there's also Congress Square, which used to be a parking lot but was recently moved underground. Today it's a place for concerts and junkies walking around at midnight. Despite the city center being such a nice area, glaring issues appear when you leave the old town. We are here at Ljubljana's biggest bus interchange, known locally as Bavarski Dvor, or Bavarian Gate in English. While on the surface it seems fine, glaring issues appear when rush hour hits. You see, this area, unlike just down the road, is for some reason open for cars, which means that the busiest bus station in the city has to share their space with a few cars because of our dear neighbor and the NIMBYs who just have to use their car everywhere. For some reason, they couldn't give up this 200-meter stretch of road. These few cars often hold up thousands of passengers during rush hour because they just can't be bothered to use the 5-lane urban strode just a block away. This station reflects the whole public transit system in the city. Since Ljubljana doesn't have an urban rail system like a tram or a metro because it's quote, too small, with the only transit being the very bad commuter trains and the already overcrowded buses, which have to share the road with thousands of cars with little to no priority in traffic. While bus lanes exist, they're often incredibly useless because most of them only go in one direction and not even all the way down the road. And in many places, they don't even try. Like for example, when the mayor promised us a bus lane on the busy Tržaška road in the south and then just changed his mind because, quote, installing the lane would just worsen the traffic. Because we all know traffic always magically fixes itself. All of this is not even mentioning the complete lack of transit priority at intersections, a technology even most Eastern European countries have started using, but no, it seems like this Central European city is too advanced to use such a technology. So what are we gonna do about this issue? Well, not to worry, our glorious mayor has cooked up a new plan which will fix all of our issues. It's called BRT. aka Bus Rapid Battery Tram. A revolutionary technology. These trams don't need rails and run on battery to avoid those ugly overhead wires. You know, like a bus. But enough about public transit. Let's talk about something much uglier.
Why are you pointing? Oh man, you.
For a city such in love with cars and non-public transit vehicles, you would think that they have their shit figured out, right? Well, Ljubljana uses a radial road system with arterial roads connecting the city center ring, the districts, the suburban ringway and the outskirts of the city. Pretty good system, right? And these 350 kilometers of bike lanes really don't seem too bad, right?
Well, to show you how this system operates in practice, we have to venture outside of the city center.
We're here in Moste district, more specifically Moste Market on the Zaloška road. It's one of the 8 major arterial roads in the city. However, it doesn't seem like a wide boulevard. So what went wrong here?
You see, this is arguably the oldest of the arterial roads, spanning all the way back to the late 19th century, which means that it was built for the needs of that time.
However, the road doesn't care about the history, neither did the planners who built the largest planned neighborhood in the country at the tail end of the road. Not to mention, the road also connects to multiple suburban districts and the highway, being the primary artery from the eastern part of the city. What this all means is that all of that traffic, plus the many bus lines that run on this road, is carried by a measly 2 lanes and with no real alternatives in the area. However, with the lack of space also comes the lack of quality. While the road has a bicycle lane, it's very narrow, you're shoulder to shoulder with pedestrians, not to mention it's horribly bumpy because of the negligence and the lack of maintenance that has been given to this road.
And when they try to fix anything, they do such a shitty job that they end up making it worse. And that's how you come up with a view that could only be rivaled by the Alps.
While this is only one road, it reflects the often outdated and unsuitable road infrastructure and the often uncomfortably and even dangerous conditions for cyclists, which use varying quality of bicycle lanes all around the city. That means that despite the city saying it has 350 kilometers of bike paths, those are often barely suitable but fall into the same category. But there is also another issue.
Here we are in the Stepans neighborhood. With a population of about 10,000, this area was planned in the 1970s. However, the planners of the time could not predict the horrible parking issues that about 50 years later would appear in this beautiful area.
Combine that with the lackluster public transit and getting around often feels like a nightmare for residents. However, that hasn't stopped the mayor from increasing the price of parking in the whole city and testing the system in the neighborhood. To better understand this issue, we asked a local for his opinion.
Gospod, a lahko intervju? Ja, lahko. Kaj mislite o Zokiju?
Zoki, ona legenda. Tam na Bavarce, tam je skozi neki prosečen brez ene noge, veš takle, ga škoša.
Ne, mislim, Zoran Janković, župan.
There's also other major issues, like the horribly depleted and overcrowded main bus and train terminal, or the mostly abandoned Stožice complex, which ran out of money because of the mayor's corruption, and not even mentioning the horrible housing problem that the city faces. However, I think you get the point. While I am very harsh and critical of my city and its decisions, there is hope. There are quite a few projects in work to fix these issues, and I'm confident that this city can solve them, but not with this leadership.